walk in? That was nice. That was good work. I appreciate that. Okay, this is a very, very big night for me. The film that you're about to see has been the holy grail of the Film Noir Foundation for a number of years. It took 5 years of effort for us to get this thing restored and back up on the screen. You are here for the second public screening of this film. I know there are a lot of regulars in this crowd who've heard me do my spiel about what the foundation does and why certain movies become orphans over time. This is a movie that was independently produced in 1949 by a guy named Hans Stromberg. He spent all of his money on the 2 stars of this film. There is virtually no production budget left after he finished paying them. So it's not the most visually striking movie ever made, but it has this incredibly great screenplay by a guy named Roy Huggins based on his novel, Too Late for Tears, and Roy Huggins would go on to become one of the most significant independent television producers in history. He's the man who created 77 Sunset Strip and Maverick and The Fugitive with Roy Huggins, and he was the co-creator of the Rockford Files and all this stuff. I mean, he was a major, major figure in American entertainment. But this is one of his earlier works. It's just it's a fantastic movie. I know if you're into noir, you're probably an Elizabeth Scott fan. She was known as the Threat because she was a Bacall-like figure, and she was brought in specifically to rival Lauren Bacall, and so they called her the Threat. And if you are like me, Dan Duryea is one of your all-time favorites. He was completely unique in what he did on screen. There just weren't guys with that high-pitched voice. If you've seen John Lovitz on Saturday Night Live, he made an entire career as a comedian out of imitating Dan Duryea. That's essentially what he did. Duryea's specialty on screen was slapping women. This was a politically incorrect time, and he would get fan mail by the carload for this. In fact, the poster for Too Late for Tears is a picture of him slapping Elizabeth Scott in the face. But this movie, yes, there's a twist to all of that in this film. The job of getting this film restored was so immense. Like I say, it was an independent film. It did not have the protection of a major studio. It was distributed by United Artists, but they long ago lost the negative when their distribution deal ran out. There is no negative of this film, original negative of this film, anywhere in the world that we could find. What we ended up doing was, as is so often the case, is you have to find an existing print. There were collector prints of this film, 2 of them that we were able to find. There was a 16mm print of this film in its re-released version under the title Killer Bait. Then came this long saga where I got a call in the middle of the night from a guy who said, I sold the print to a guy in Baltimore. It's nitrate, but I can't give you his name. And it turned out that this was a condition of the sale because nitrate, it's against the law for a citizen to own a nitrate film because they're so flammable and considered to be so dangerous. That's why they were outlawed in 1949. So the fact that this nitrate print existed, which would look gorgeous, we had to try to find this guy, and the guy just wanted me to, he was like torturing me. Like telling me that this existed, but I can't tell you who owns it. And then, like 6 months later, every so often I would talk to this seller and I would say, come on, be real, let me know if you want to restore this film. And all of the other prints that we found had flaws or scenes missing or the titles were chopped off or something. And before you commit to doing a composite restoration, you want to try and exhaust every last opportunity to find the thing complete in a really good version. So anyway, in the end, he called and said, the guy's name is Bill. And, I know that people who collect films are often kind of odd, And sorry, don't let this affect your work tonight, but they're often projectionists. I love you. And so eventually, on the internet, I actually came across a story about a theater that had been restored in Baltimore, where the new owners, this young couple who bought the theater, said, we even restored the original projectionist. This 78-year-old guy is coming back to do this work. His name is Bill Hewitt. Oh, really? So I called the seller of the film and I said, is Bill, all I'm going to say, I'm going to ask you one question, answer yes or no. Bill Hewitt. Yes. So I was like, okay. It was a year trying to get this nitrate print out of Bill Hewitt, right? Long saga. Paperwork in place, everything good. Library of Congress is going to go and collect the print from one of his 5 storage units that, you know, all these movies that he collected. Everything ready to roll. Bill Hewitt dies. And he does not tell his brother where the storage units are. We have never found that print. That was not the basis for this restoration. We actually found a dupe negative of this film in France under the title La Tigresse, which is the French title for Too Late for Tears. As you will see in this movie, Dan Duryea calls Liz Scott Tiger throughout this entire movie. And they called the film La Tigresse in France. And only because of that did we actually determine that this dupe negative existed and we were able to get it. So I want to thank our partners at the UCLA Film and Television Archive who had the biggest challenge ever of any of the work that we've done restoring this film, because it used that dupe negative, which unfortunately was not clean before it was made. So it's a dirty negative, so it's not perfect. This is not a pristine restoration, I'm sorry to say. After I saw the answer print, the project manager, Scott McQueen, leaned over and said, we can make this perfect for an additional $400,000. And I said, you know what, I think I like it just the way it is. But we used that in a 16, and the job that they did matching all of this, there, in some cases, there is 35 millimeter and 16 millimeter, all shots within a scene retimed and coordinated to match together perfectly. And they did a phenomenal job restoring the soundtrack on this film, which was not terrific to begin with. And the cleanup job and the restoration on this is absolutely fantastic. So a big round of applause, please, for Mr. Scott McQueen. I'm not going to say anything more. You are going to have a blast, because as much as a lot of these films at Noir City are nihilistic films, bleak, depressing, what's the point of going on? Every so often you get a film like this, which is just so much fun, and it is an absolute hoot. This is Elizabeth Scott's best performance ever. She doesn't like it. I don't know what is wrong with her. You know, she will not come out in support of this movie because she said, I don't like that film. And it's like, Liz, this is the best film you ever made. Get with it, you know? But she's bad in this movie, and so she doesn't really want to be associated with it. Well, you're wrong, Liz, because this is the best thing you ever did, as you're now going to find out for yourself. I am thrilled to present Too Late for Tears.